I'll tell you what. You know who's blackpilling right now? The Democrats. They're blackpilling hard. It is loss after loss right now for the Democrats in the deep state. They are falling apart. All of a sudden, their party is embracing communism, and the Trump administration is just getting win after win, and they don't know what to do with themselves. Here, perfect example is Mark Elias. Mark Elias, one of the most corrupt people on the planet. He is a longtime lawyer for Democrats who constantly fights against every move towards common sense policy, conservative policy in the land. He has been a thorn in the side of Republicans in the conservative movement for a long time, but now he is losing and losing and losing, and he is freaking out about this one. Yesterday, in the Senate hearing, the Postmaster General told senators that because of the rule proposed to the USPS by Donald Trump and his executive order, the Postal Service will not deliver mail ballots unless the states hand over their voter list to the Trump administration. Boom! Massive win there. This is the Postmaster General. He is in control of making this happen. And he says flat out, it's not going down, folks. And the left is freaking out. Why? Because they rigged their elections. There's no other reason not to freak out about it. And of course, Mark Elias, he's so mad. He's got to report this because he's so scared. But this is, if you think about it, it shouldn't be an issue. Why would you care if mail-in ballots were going over to your voter lists? Why? Oh, unless you want them to just go out to everybody because you want those extra votes, like in California where they're still counting today. Yeah, that election doesn't even get certified for another 10 days or so. Insanity. So if you want month-long elections, vote Democrat. But if you want single day ones, you do this. Here is where the Democrats got the word. This is what's got them all in a tizzy.
If a state refuses to turn their absentee voter list over to the federal government, will the Postal Service still mail their ballots under this proposal rule?
Under our proposed regulation, no. We would tell the state that we need the manifest in order to, look, what we're asking for.
That's the, if a
Boom.
state.
No, they're not going to get it. You see how upset he was? He's like, Now, I didn't watch the whole thing. I think I'm going to go back and check it out. But Scott Pressler shared this, and anybody who knows Scott Pressler knows he gets the whole election thing. So he knows, and I trust him sharing it. Now, Democrats are freaking out over this, but a judge has already tried to block it. Now, here's the deal. The judge can block the rule, but he cannot block the Postmaster General from making this decision because this is an administrative decision. So even if the judge blocks the rule, it doesn't stop the USPS from going ahead with this. And it just ensures it'll go up to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will definitely uphold this. But here's a little breakdown.
So all the state gives us is a list of here are the voters that are supposed to get ballots, and here are the ballots. We then compare the two, make sure that the ballots that are supposed to be sent get sent. I would think that states would want the information to ensure that the ballots that they think are sending out are the ballots that are actually being sent out.
The government is expected to quickly appeal this ruling and block the judge's order from taking effect while all this litigation continues, Dana.
I believe the appeal will hold it and block it. So this should be good for the midterms. Now, let's break down why this is such a big deal. As Rasmussen Reports puts out, why is this big cheat upset about Trump's ballot tracking initiative? Why is big cheat? So funny. The official state-generated ballot list will still be used by the U.S. Postal Service to mail, deliver, and return all the state ballots. The feds will not dictate who's on or off of it. Only the state will do that. The difference now is the states and feds will both know who may or may not be eligible to vote before, during, and after. And that puts state election officials on notice. Well before the process begins, they'll be questioned about tracked questionable ballots. And if the states are correct and they include ballots for people the feds were wrong about, then no harm's done. But if the feds are correct and those state officials were on prior notice, they could be violating federal election law about specific questionable ballots that the USPS delivers for them, then they are subject to investigation, possibly prosecution, because they were dully and officially warned before they included the questionable ballots in their individual state list. This brings personal accountability in state election offices in a manner they're currently unaccustomed to, and personal accountability with federal teeth. There you go. Helps focus the bureaucratic mind. Far better to cooperate in advance with the feds and mutually pre-identify any possible non-conforming ballot issues. Big Cheat hates the idea of the cooperation the most. And they give a whole breakdown on way more of this, but they don't like this. They big scared. They big scared because, listen, even if you don't, this is how Trump, as I like to say often, the Trump administration, they are so smart because what they'll do is they set their eyes on something and they're like, we're going to get this done. And so they go executive order route. Then they try to get it passed by Congress so it becomes permanent. When judges block it or when they can't do it the legal way of current law, they find the workarounds. And right now, we don't have voter ID nationwide. We allow mail-in ballots to be counted after Election Day. All kinds of stuff that allows all kinds of fraud in some states, obviously worse than others. This is a way around it because the U.S. Postal Service is federally run. I love it. It's so genius how they do this kind of stuff. Now, it's not just Democrats trying to block this stuff. Mike DeWine, the total rhino failure governor of Ohio, just blocked voter ID in Ohio that was passed by the House.
Morning, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has vetoed a controversial bill that would have required voters to provide photo ID when casting an absentee ballot. Governor DeWine says the bill would have created an additional burden for Ohioans and that it doesn't add any safety measures. In a statement, DeWine said in part, requiring a photo ID for mail-in ballots, quote, does not provide election officials with any opportunity to verify if the ID picture matches the face of the voter and thereby serves as no additional verification of the voter's true identity, end quote. Morning, Ohio Governor Mike.
This just goes to show you that the people on the right, the rhino types, they're all the same. They all come from the same deep state, globalist, Davos agenda, City of London system that just wants to undermine our elections and keep in power. That's the point. And that's who is a lot of our senators in Congress right now. They are the same. They're bred from the same DNA as Mike freaking DeWine right here. And that's why they don't want to pass the Save America Act. However, when you have somebody like Trump, as we'll talk about in a little bit, who has the strong arm, the boss mentality, and he's got the receipts on all of them, he's able to possibly get them all in order. So we're going to find out. But the fact that Trump is pushing it so hard, I still have hope the Save America Act will get passed. Now, with all this going on, obviously, we're still getting wins, okay? This is still a huge win before the midterms, and it will continue to be so, especially if the appeals courts stay it, which I believe they will. And there's more wins coming. It is ramping up for the Trump administration right now. The SCOTUS Supreme Court just delivered a massive win for Trump this morning on an issue that's going to be huge with the base, and that is this. The Supreme Court struck down Hawaii's rule that banned carrying guns on private property open to the public unless the owner gave explicit permission. Holding it violates 2nd and 14th Amendments. In other words, guys, if you carry, you now can walk into a store with your gun, which is your right. This is all. If it's public, if it's open to the public, the owners now can't ban you from doing it. Well, I should say this: it's not an auto ban. I don't know if this covers that. They can specifically ask you, please don't bring it in. But there was an auto ban that Hawaii passed that even unless the owner came out and was like, yes, bring your guns in, you weren't allowed to bring it in. This is a big win for 2A. And as came out yesterday, Trump is trying to get national concealed carry laws passed. So that's huge. Or is it open carry? I don't remember. It's carry. Trump is, despite the fact in the first term when they did the bump stock ban, which got overturned by SCOTUS, other than that, Trump's been the most 2A president we've ever seen. And some of us think that Trump might have done that bump stock ban in order for Supreme Court to overturn it, to stop more bans coming if once he was gone. I don't know. Some people think Trump plays 4D chess, 5D chess like that. I'm one of them. But you may not, and that's okay. Regardless, 2A has become increasingly protected because of Trump. And that's incredible news. And that'll be huge for the midterms. Now, what'll also be huge for the midterms is this is where Trump is going full populist. And he's calling out to do an investigation of oil companies to make sure gas prices get cheaper. Because guess what? Right now, oil is barely above where it was pre-Iran war. It is just a couple bucks above the day we went and attacked Iran. But gas prices are still $1 higher, which means the gas prices aren't dropping as fast as oil prices. And now Trump is calling it out. And this is, again, why people love him so much.
Your Department of Justice to do an investigation for oil companies that you said gas prices were not coming down quick enough.
That's right.
And you are concerned that there is price gouging going on, taking advantage of the prices. Sir, can you elaborate on that?
So it's ExxonMobil, it's Chevron, it's Shell, it's BP, it's a lot of them. The gasoline or the oil prices have come down so much, and we are not seeing anything at the pump by comparison to what it should be. We should be, in my opinion, at $2.25 right now at the pump. And we're higher than that. And we are doing a big investigation on it. Yeah, they're not reducing the prices commensurate with what's happening. Look, we are sending out, think of it, 19 million barrels came out yesterday. That is a flood. That's like a gusher. That's an oil gusher. And they should be much lower, the gasoline prices, which really is what people see more than anything else, but for their car. But the gasoline prices should be much lower at the pump. And the oil companies are possibly gouging. I hope they're not, otherwise they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be in big trouble. We're not going to play games.
Mr. President, you spoke to the president.
Hey guys, you know what this means? Get ready for gas prices to plummet. They don't want to be investigated. They know Trump is on their side in most cases. He is allowing them to pump oil like never before. He's deregulated the industry so that they have way more ability to make money. He's turned us into the biggest deliverer of oil to the world. He has been nothing but good for oil companies. But he's also saying, if you guys are messing around, I'm going to F you up. And that, my friends, is a warning shot. So I will tell you right now, right after this today, watch gas prices to go down much faster, because they don't want to deal with Trump going after them. They really don't. They also know you can't mess up with Trump. You can't mess with him because he always follows up. He sues people left and right, and he's got the whole power of the federal government behind him. Do you think the oil companies really want to get on Trump's bad side? Nope. So watch. I see so many people saying that oil, despite the fact oil prices are down, gas still isn't going to go down to where it was. I think that's ridiculous, and this is one of the reasons why. You get the push. Trump has just put it out there. And again, the acceleration that'll happen before we get to the midterms, man, I'm telling you guys, people are going to be very, very happy as things turn around for the midterms. Now, let's talk about another massive sign for the midterms is this commie takeover of New York. And I got to tell you, I see a lot of fear out there. And people are acting as if like this means the communists are taking over America. It does not. You understand that the communists, the way they do things, when they were most dangerous was when they were hidden. They were more dangerous when they were getting Obama to be president. This takeover, this is them losing. They think they're winning. The idiot idealists on the left think they're winning because they're finally getting some notoriety. They're finally getting a few people up there. But guys, it's a massive loss nationwide, and the Democrats know it. And Seth Keshel, who I always bring up as the election mastermind, demographic mastermind, It says, watching the right worry and flip out over the left branding itself unpalatable to everything in between the coasts is hard to believe. I completely agree with them. And he puts out this "Are You Not Entertained" newsletter, which you guys should go check out. Seth Keshel's stuff's amazing. But just as I told you guys yesterday, Trump now is saying, Trump must watch my show. I'm just going to say that. Trump must watch my show because I said it first. This is one of the few times I get to say I said something before President Trump did. Trump now is saying this will make the election easier for Republicans. Listen to this.
A democratic socialist.
Well, it should make it easier for Republicans because most of the nation is composed of sane people. They don't want to, if you look throughout history, go back thousands of years, you've always had socialism and communism by different names. It's never ever worked. Yep. It's not going to work this time either.
Make it easier. I love that. He's absolutely right. And then he's also said this, because we had this argument yesterday, that socialism is communism. Well, Trump, again, he must watch my show because he just said the same thing.
Well, they're going radical left. They're going really, you talk about the Democrat socialists. It's really communist. These people. I watched that woman last night. That's not a socialist. I know socialists. That woman is a communist. And what they don't say is that I was 16-0 last night. But mine were a little more boring, a little more mainstream. They were Republican conservatives. But we were 16-0. And if you look over the last 2.5 years, we're about 347 and just about 0. That's pretty good. But nobody writes that. But he picked 3. They won. They beat a guy named Dan Goldman, who's, a loser. He was one of my
loser. Interesting enough, Dan Goldman is a big loss for the Democrats, for the establishment Democrats, for the City of London controlled Democrats who haven't lost control of their people yet. He was one of their golden boys. And this is important to recognize, that losing Goldman was like losing, I'm trying to think of who would be a rising star on the right in the House, like maybe like a Brandon Gill, like somebody they are just excited about carrying forward. And like this guy will be part of the new party rising up. And he got beat by one of these commies. This is another reason they're freaking out.
Prosecutors, one of my many prosecutors that they used on me. Dan Goldman, not a good prosecutor, fortunately, but he's now looking for a job. I was very surprised to see, because he's a pretty liberal guy. When they go more liberal than Dan Goldman, they're really into Never Never Land.
Does this tell you that the Democratic Party's 2028 nominee will likely be, or could likely be, a democratic socialist?
Well, it should make it easier for Republicans.
And that's the part we already watched. But again, Trump calling it out exactly as it is. These guys are full-on communists, but Trump he's messaging to us guys that he's not going to allow this to happen. And do you think this took him by surprise? I don't think so at all. I really don't think so. See, sometimes and a lot of people who are freaking out about this stuff, sometimes they don't understand just how much information and how much good counsel comes to you when you're president. It's not that you see all, it's not that you're perfect, but you're privy to access to ideas and trends and behind the scenes information that just nobody else gets. We cannot even fathom this kind of stuff that Trump gets to hear about that we don't, and that they can prepare for that we don't know of. And again, if you watch Trump's career, it's pretty clear he's always kind of ready for what's coming next in almost every circumstance. Nobody's perfect, but he does not look worried about this whole Democrat communist thing.
Every election's important. We're doing very well. They want a lot of communists to come in. I'm saying it a little bit differently, but the people that they're pushing are communists, and this country is not going to have communists. Thank you very much.
Trump knows. And it's not just Trump. I like Asmongold. Asmongold is the biggest streamer in the world. He was a gamer who just started streaming long term, streams for hours and hours a day. way more than I do. And he's got a massive following, and he talks politics, and he's very common sense. And Asmongold, who has got a great pulse on the culture, he had his own thoughts on what's going on with the Democrats and the communism. And listen to this.
I was gonna say, so then this is a way that Hassan is absolutely detrimental to like Democrats and or liberals, because you'll have Asmongold fighting him on something. Hassan, people will view him as like, oh, this is like—
They will view him as the Democrat voice, and he runs with Democrats. He tries to get involved with them, and he does so to their detriment. That is exactly right. Now, I'm very happy about this, by the way. The Democrat Party is being totally taken over by a bunch of fucking radical communists and socialists. They are. You're having the Democrat Party be totally taken over by socialism and by race communism and other bullshit like this. I think it's actually quite funny, because I've told people this is what was going to happen. I've said this multiple times over and over and over. Leftists now, right? And so this is the new party of the left. And this is the reason why I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it because this is a very easy group to other. This is an easy group to demonize, and it's an easy group to take action against, right? Yes. And I think also they don't really appeal to the average, like they appeal to Democrats. They're going to win Democrat primaries. And it's because Democrats are... There is no cohesive ideology that Democrats exist around.
Listen to him.
There isn't. And so also this, let me see if I can pull it up.
Do you guys hear what he said? He nails it. The Democrats, the only reason they still win national elections in the last 20 years is because they present themselves as kind of a nothing. They don't really present real policies. They've governed as socialists. That's just a fact. I can point to you to Obama's track record. I can point to you to a lot of what Clinton was doing. Obviously Biden, but they didn't run like that. They ran as common people, like, we want to help you. And they specifically on purpose avoids getting into the specifics of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. They just talk about big picture stuff. They're great marketers. The Democratic Party is really great at marketing because they know how to appeal to emotions, and because they know people don't want the details. And what that does is that it dupes people who don't pay attention over and over again, even if these people are kind of like maybe more traditional values, maybe not necessarily wanting like higher taxes. But what they hear, these people who don't pay attention, don't understand how the system works, they'll hear Democrats say, cheaper, easier. We'll make it easier for you. We'll punish the people that make you mad. And they hear those three things and they're like, oh, cheaper, easier, punish the bad people? Yeah, I'm in. But once you affix communists to them, now you have an enemy. There's a vast majority of people don't like this. And Asmongold nails it. This gives us something to target when it's a lot harder to target them over policy, because they bob and weave. And listen, the reason I think this is a good thing, Asmon thinks this is a good thing, President Trump thinks this is a good thing, Seth Keshel thinks this is a good thing, is because the Democrats also are freaking out. And I showed you guys some yesterday. Well, we got more. Here's Letitia James, AG in New York, who went after Trump. Yeah, she's not happy about it.
Some of the candidates that he has supported, Mandami, are individuals who do not understand the politics of New York City, the cultural differences from district to district, who have not been part of the history and the struggle. All of us are a little frustrated with the Democratic Party, but you don't blow it up. I have news for you. They just did. And you did nothing about it. Neither did Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi. You could spin it whatever you want. I think some of the candidates.
Now, this is the panic, okay? They're going to gather themselves. They're going to choose to go all in for the midterms because that's what they're going to do. They care about power more than anything else. But the initial panic is the tell. This is when you're getting them off script. They haven't gathered themselves yet. And that panic is widespread. And the big way I know this is James freaking Carville's freaking out about it. He says, I'm done. I'm not in that effing political party freaking out after progressives win big in the Democratic primaries. If James Carville, who is like so excited about this midterms, hates Trump with every little bit of his passion, his old man face, Popeye face without the muscles, this guy is, if nothing else, like, I can't stand James Carville, but the dude is smart. He's smart when it comes to winning elections. And I mean, he's the guy who got Clinton in. He masterminded the Clinton campaign, and it was a very good campaign. But him freaking out about this, you know, and again, he'll gather himself. He'll start coming up with reasons why you got to vote for him anyways. Don't be fooled. These people are not leaving. But this is the initial tell. They are scared because, again, Carville, the mastermind of Democratic elections, of campaigns, is like, no, that's not what you do. Remember, he's Mr. It's the economy, stupid. That's his tagline. He is like, let's just talk emotions and issues, give them the bait. But now they could say we're commies. This is not good for us. And so Carville is freaking out. And Fetterman, again, proves to be the only voice of reason that's actually serving for the Democrats in Congress. He says anti-Israel, anti-America, anti-Western civilization. Why am I the only Democrat in the Senate that refuses to excuse this or defend any of the self-identified communists? And he points to Chevalier here, the Mamdani-backed DSA member-led radical group that demanded total eradication of Western civilization. Fetterman's willing to call it out. I'm telling you guys, they are not happy about this. Things are not going good for Democrats right now. And things are only picking up for MAGA, for Republicans and Trump. The other tell is things keep getting worse for Newsom. This is one of their big heroes heading forward. Exclusive from Christopher Rufo. Our team has scoured public records and discovered Gavin Newsom has close connections with at least 10 people who have been investigated, indicted, or convicted of fraud and corruption. We've mapped out Gavin Newsom's criminal network, and they put together this excellent article here. I recommend you guys check it out. But the fact is, Newsom's family is under investigation right now, and now everybody's looking at him. This will crush the Democrats' future, their hopes for 2028. It's beautiful, baby. I love every second of it. Commies coming in, announcing to the world, hey, we're not hiding anymore. This is who we actually are. That's excellent for us going forward. People like Newsom being taken out, Plattner's out there, Tallarico. We are seeing the Democrats lose their cover. They're blowing their own cover by showing us who they actually are. And I'm sorry, folks, but once Americans find out who Democrats actually are, it's just going to get so much worse for them. Here's my favorite New York Jew. Harry, tell us some good news. Here's
because
Harry.
What is true in New York City in a Democratic primary ain't necessarily true nationwide with the general electorate. I mean, just take a look here. Net favorable rating of Democratic Socialists. If you look at Democrats nationwide, look at this. Democratic Socialists are on the positive side of the ledger at plus 17 points. This includes Democratic-leaning independents. But look at all voters. A completely different world. 27 points underwater.
You guys hear what he just said? This is Democrats favoring of the DSA, who they are coming out as, who they are showing you who they are, the commies. And this is all voters, Republicans, independents, and Democrats combined. You know what this means? That among anybody right-leaning and anybody center, there is no favorability whatsoever, because to go from this number to this number means it's almost 0% amongst Republicans and independents in the center. That, my friends, is death to the Democratic Party. That is also proof that America is not in danger of becoming communist. What it is that this party, the Democrats, are getting crazier and crazier, but they're also getting smaller and smaller. To go from this to this means that this is not a big faction of Americans anymore. This is only going to get worse for them as well. These numbers right here will go higher as this number goes lower as more people defect over time. I've already seen prominent Democrats in New York say this is the last time I'm voting as a Democrat in New York. once you go too far, there's a lot of people not willing to go here. It's one thing to be commie. It reminds me of the scene in the classic movie from the early 90s, The Rocketeer. And if you guys don't like The Rocketeer, haven't seen The Rocketeer, what's wrong with you? Excellent, amazing movie. And it's at the end when the feds are fighting. The bad guy finally gets revealed as a Nazi, and he was working with the mob. And all of a sudden, all the Nazis show up, and they're fighting the feds. And the feds, the mafia guys go, and they come on the side of the feds. And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, you know what? I don't like the feds, but I'm no freaking Nazi. That's what's happening here. Might be, I don't like the Republicans, but I'm no freaking communist. That's what's happening. Americans, man, we will galvanize and defeat this. Them being exposed is always the sign they're about to lose.
What Democratic Socialists of America are in the net favorable rating. So what are we talking about? A 44-point difference here in the wrong direction when we come to Democratic Socialists of America, jumping from being pretty popular among Democrats to being not popular at all among all voters.
What about just the word socialist or socialism? How's that doing?
Yeah, okay. So, one of the trends that we have seen is among Democrats, socialism has become more popular over the last decade and a half. But what about the rest of the electorate? And this, I think, gives the game away right here. Okay, positive view of socialism. Among Democrats, look at this. Up considerably from where we were in 2010, 50% to now 66% now. That's a jump of 16 points in a decade and a half. But look at all others. The number is the same. It was 29% back in 2010. It's 30% now. Socialism has become increasingly popular among Democrats, but it is a much tougher sell in the rest of the electorate. It's a much tougher sell among independents.
The other part of that he doesn't take into consideration here is the terrible education as to what socialism actually is. Once people actually realize what it is, it becomes even more unpopular, and that's been proven as well. And if people are going to show it and show you who they are, it'll get more unpopular. Just look at what happened with the Biden 40%. So again, yeah, I mean, look at even back in 2010, guys, Democrats were 50% then. This is not this. They've been wanting to outright come all the way out for a long time now, but it is, we're not losing, but the Democratic Party is getting more radical, and they will lose more and more, especially because we're outbreeding them considerably. They're killing themselves off. Now, the next thing that Democrats and the deep state is freaking out about is Trump's approval is starting to jump back up. 46.7%. There's a second poll that has him at 47% in the last couple days. Guys, he was in the low 40s during Iran when gas prices were high. That was the lowest Trump has been in the entire second term. 2 months of touching the low 40s. That's when they were all pouncing. Now that the deal's signed, now that Iran settled down, oil is starting to produce, gas is going down, this is going up, and it's only going to continue to go up or at least hold. And at these numbers, he'll have much higher numbers in his second term than Obama or Bush or Clinton, which means the midterms get harder and harder for them to win. And we can see it in the generic ballots, even in just the last 3 weeks. And this is YouGov. It's a very left-leaning poll. It adds 3 to 7 points for Democrats every single time. Already, even in YouGov, they've lost 11 points in the last 3 weeks. Guys, we are not losing right now. We are overcoming one of the toughest political environments in the last 10 years, especially for MAGA and Trump. Trump did something tough. He risked the poll numbers early. He went for it, and it's already recovering and already coming back, and that has them in complete and utter panic. The midterms, as of right now, are looking very strong for Republicans, which no one would have told you a couple months ago. But I look at all the trends, and I'm telling you, it's only going to get better for here, especially with the economy, which we're going to talk about next.